All right, everybody. So now we're going to go over creating the ideal schedule for yourself. So this is going to definitely evolve over time, and you're not going to get this right this week, but this is going to be a process, and ultimately we're going to want to get closer to that ideal. So, the fitness industry does kind of a absolutely fucking terrible job of helping us with this. So, what I thought was ideal, when I was a personal trainer is, I looked at all the most successful trainers in the company that I worked for, The Edge, right? So, looked at the most successful trainers, the ones that were, making the most money, selling the most supplements, they're doing the most sessions, right? Because more session service, more money you make, right? Because we're trading, the dollars for hours, right? And providing utility as service, right? So, they went in, 5 or 6 a.m., they worked till about midday, and they, came back in the evening, did their evening shifts and those sorts of things, right? So I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. Cool. Bring in some bread, right? So here's what I did. So I spent about 10 hours coaching, right? So I would work so I actually time blocked this pretty well, for given the amount of hours that I worked and the goals that I had at the time. The goals that I had at the time were not to, maximize my self-care and those sorts of things and really chase those bigger business goals that I have now. My goal was simply train as many people as possible, make as much money as possible, right? So I think to that end, I did a good job until I burned myself the hell out. So what I did was, I would rock in at 5 a.m., I would train for, my rule was I wouldn't train more than 3 hours, so I recommend you definitely take this rule right now, regardless of how many coaching hours you have. I found that after, about 3 hours, my brain would start turning to mush and I wouldn't be as focused on the client and my quality of service would decline. So I was like, okay, hard stop 3 hours. So I would train, from 5 to about 7:30, I believe. Then I would take a half-hour break. I would eat, some food, and then I would go ahead and train until about noon or 1 o'clock. And then I would take a break. I would eat. I would drink my pre-workout. I would read some articles on Elite FTS, which I also recommend you pick up that habit. And I would or work on a certification, right? Whether it was precision nutrition or those sorts of things that I was working on at the time. Even though I was crazy crap at the time, I always made time for my education. And that's something that will differentiate you from other people. Even if you're the absolute most busiest trainer in the gym, you're still going to have to take time for your education. Otherwise, you will fall behind. Same thing with online. So, regardless of where you are, education will always put you ahead. Doesn't always have to be conventional education, but something to move you forward, right? Always looking at the future. So anyway, and then I would, go ahead and work out, let's say 90 minutes, 2 hours, and then I would eat again, and I would get right back to work. And I would work from, 5 to about 8 or 9 p.m., and then I would go home and eat again, and then go to sleep and do it all over again. And this was, 5 days a week, and on the weekends I would work not a split shift, but pretty much, straight through with the breaks that I outlined. And then I would usually pass the hell out. And then Sunday would be meal prep and programming. And now I do a lot more of that on Sunday. So that was kind of the old way, right? That was the most efficient way to train the most people. And I was like, okay, I'm killing it. I've reached my goal, right? But god damn was I burnt out because I was working so much. Because it turns out my actual goal that I wanted was not something that was getting me anywhere. And when I started to, go through this grind and I achieved this goal and I started to look at bigger goals, mentoring trainers, those sorts of things, and I was very frustrated because I felt like I was outworking everybody and I had done all the things that I wanted to do, but I didn't feel like I was gaining any sorts of traction like I was with training clients because I found a very repeatable process, right? I'm getting the leads, I'm closing the leads, I'm training them, keeping them around for a long time, upselling them on certain things. So I had a very good flow there, but I wasn't able to, once I hit that ceiling, there's literally so many hours you could train in the week, and then you start to sacrifice things like, maybe those meal times, maybe those workouts, maybe you guys have had this experience where you start to sacrifice certain things to get more client hours, or even worse, to put the sessions in weird places that are inconvenient for you, those sorts of things, right? So we start to run into problems when we max these things out. Now that's a good problem to have. A lot of trainers, can't even do that, but there's a reason you guys are here is because you are very good and you are able to kind of max that out. So once you're maxed out, what the hell do you do from here? So now we get into more of an ideal schedule. So this is not the ideal schedule. This is kind of where I'm at right now. So new model. So the new model here is, I'm sleeping about 9 hours on average. I'm lifting about 2 hours as always, sometimes closer to an hour, sometimes closer to 3, but average 2, right? And spending about 2 hours eating, obviously split throughout the day, not just one meal. And I'm spending about, and this is new versus what I was doing before, is I'm spending about 2 hours on marketing and building my business, and sometimes more, right? So instead of working, and we'll go back to this principle in a bit, but instead of working in my business, kind of as an employee, just kind of servicing sessions and those sorts of things and doing the kind of the utilities, just being a utility, right? Just servicing sessions. Now I'm actually working on the business and moving kind of the macro forward, and I am getting those bigger results that are building those bigger projects, right? So, whether it's, promoting or, doing videos or, making content, those sorts of things, marketing and building the business, right? Creating new mentorship programs like I'm doing now, those sorts of things, looking at hiring employees. So a little bit more macro level stuff versus just servicing, right? And then 1 hour on sales, right? So I'm having sales conversations every day, whether that be, primarily through the DMs and, story replies and those sorts of things, or, actually on a sales call. Well, that would obviously increase the time commitment there. But as spending at least an hour having sales conversations every day, that's an absolute mandatory. And if you guys aren't doing that, start doing it right now. That will directly move your business forward. You absolutely have to be having those conversations every day. Spending about 2 hours on admin, maybe 1 to 2 hours on admin. Replying to client texts. Yeah, a lot of that. I would say that's most of my admin. It's not really email, but messages through TrueCoach, those sorts of things. Reviewing TrueCoach workouts. Talking to clients, I guess, is most of my admin. And working on things with TrueCoach, messing with payments, whatever, small admin stuff. But really, a lot of it is text, Facebook, Instagram, those sorts of things. I would classify that as admin. And about 2 hours coaching. So I would say I actually do a lot less of that day to day. It'll average out to about 2 hours coaching, because on Sunday I'm spending about 10, 14 hours programming. So it would average out to about 2 hours of coaching a day. But really, I would say most of the coaching I do day to day, would kind of be flowing between admin and coaching, just communicating with clients, just talking to clients. Could be coaching, could be admin, I suppose. But spending about 2 hours on education. So whether that be business courses, whether that be reading articles on Elite FTS, which I like to make a habit of, whether that be reading books, self-development, those sorts of things. So education / self-development is going to be really key. That's what's really going to move the marketing, building the business, the sales, the education, self-development. Those are the things that are really going to push your business forward in the future, versus just kind of spinning the wheels and hitting that glass ceiling that we want to evolve past, right? And then 2 hours of fun. Usually this is video games for me, or hiking, those sorts of things. Whatever your hobbies are, they're going to kind of fit in there. So this is just kind of where I'm at right now. These things will change for me, and this is definitely going to be different for you. So scrolling back up to our principles here. So we want to be, I just want to highlight the contrast between what I was doing and what I am doing, and kind of the difference in how my business is structured now. So we want to value, effectiveness over efficiency. So like when we're kind of in that gym environment, what I was doing before, it's really valued that we're busy, and we have that kind of employee mindset. It's so funny. Like I remember working at a restaurant, they're like, you never want to be like leaning, you always want to be cleaning or some shit like that. But like that employee mindset, really where we're just being busy all the time and just doing shit all the time just for the sake of doing shit, really makes you feel like you're, working, makes, your bosses feel like you're working, those sorts of things. But I don't really give a shit if I feel like I'm busy anymore. I actually want to get things done. So, and that's being effective, right? So, let's say dissolve the schedule. As long as I'm being effective and I'm getting and we'll look at the power list right here. So as long as I'm getting my power list done, that's the most important things. Now, it's really nice to have good time blocks and a well-structured schedule that will put you in a flow state and more reliably get you results in your business and your life. But really the most important things is actually getting the right shit done. So you can make yourself feel very busy by, I'm thinking of some specific examples on Instagram, but there's, some coaches out there who, are getting trapped in, being very, efficient and doing a lot of things and being very busy and looking like they're doing a lot of shit, but it's not actually moving any cogs in their business. So, they're making a website. I'm sure you guys see coaches like this all the time. They're making a website, they're creating beautiful content, those sorts of things, but they're not actually, having those direct sales conversations, having, really good fulfillment process, where they're actually taking care of their clients, and those sorts of things. So they're very efficient what they're doing, and they're doing a lot of shit, but it's just not stuff that's going to move you forward. Like a website is not going to directly move your business forward. It's, what you do with the website, and really you shouldn't even be thinking about a website until you got, 30 clients, 40 clients, making, at least, a 6-figure income, those sorts of things. For most people, at least, it's just like one of those details, right? So don't get caught up in being busy and being, efficient. I want you guys to be effective. I want you to be focusing on the most high impact things. So doing the right things versus just being busy. I don't even care if you get that much shit done in a day as long as it's the right shit, right? So anyway, I want to zoom out and work on your business more than you work in your business. So we want to be, working on, creating new programs. We want to be working on, selling these new programs. That's going to be a lot of your time. You want to have your system so automated that you're not spending a lot of time actually on the fulfillment, but also having that impact where your clients feel like they are like your only clients. So we want to create that personal feel. But also spending very, very little time because everything is so automated. You know what I'm saying? We have our training templates. We have, our automatic text service set up. We have, the Facebook accountability groups. Those sorts of things set up. So everything's very automatic and very, very efficient. So we can spend our time building the business, getting new clients, building new programs, selling those programs, those sorts of things. So we got our power list, 3 to 5 things, and that's it. So really, I like 3. This is an Andy Frisella thing. Check out his podcast. Check out his 75 Hard Challenge. But the power list. We're going to have 3 to 5 things, 3 to 5 important things that we do in the day. And another principle to add on to that is eat the frog. So I love this principle. So a lot of people on Instagram, they have these like millionaire morning routines, right? You get up, you have your cold shower, you meditate, you do all this dumb shit, right? None of that actually moves your business forward. Okay? It's just stuff to make you feel like you're working hard, right? This meditation is a challenge and a rabbit hole in itself. I'm not knocking meditation or cold showers or whatever, but listen, a cold shower is not going to get you a new client, all right? So we want to eat the frog. And what's eat the frog? Do the biggest high impact tasks first. So biggest impact first. So let's say you're creating your signature program, and you want to launch that in 2 weeks or whatever. You're not going to fucking meditate. You're not going to do, your cold showers or whatever. You're not going to, respond to emails or whatever. Busy work. You're not going to scroll through Instagram. You're going to work on that signature program, and you're going to get that ready to launch because that's the most high impact task you possibly have. So that's going to be a very important principle. So we have this power list. We have very few things that we need to do, but they're all very high impact, right? Fielding a sales call, those sorts of things. Those are going to be very high impact tasks that we want to take care of during the day. Don't want to get caught up in the little things. All right. So task for you guys. And I give you all the book to do it, or you can do it in your Google Calendar or Acuity or whatever you want. But I like to use my book and plan out my week. So every week, on Saturday or Sunday, plan your week. So first, and this is going to be a departure from what you guys have been taught and what you guys have been doing. So you're actually going to schedule your self-care and your fun and your hobbies and your adventures and all the things you like to do to take care of yourself first instead of your actual coaching hours. So first, you're going to, schedule your hobbies. For me, that would be a big hike or whatever. It's a little warmer. That's going to be my gym time. That's going to be, any adventures I want to do. That's going to be, haircut, manicure, massage, those sorts of things. Any cool dinners you want to go to, those sorts of things. So you're going to schedule that first, and you're going to take care of yourself first. Okay? We're going to pour from that overflowing cup. We're not going to be pouring from this, kind of half-empty sort of cup. We want you guys to be at your absolute best at all times, because your clients aren't actually benefiting from your drained, kind of half-empty cup self. They are going to be benefiting most from your absolute highest self. That's, super happy, full of energy, doing all the shit that you love to do. That's who they're going to benefit most from being coached from. And if that's not you, that's definitely someone else. So be aware of that. All right? So on to the next one. So now we're going to schedule our coaching hours, right? So 3 to 4 hours a day max. And you guys might say, how the fuck am I supposed to live on 3 to 4 hours a day of coaching? So, like I said, I'm only spending about, 2 hours a day coaching. So it's definitely possible. You just have to transition towards that. Now, I didn't immediately just fire all my clients and coach 2 hours a day. I transitioned towards it. So, but this is going to be the ideal that we're going to move towards, right? So we're going to be, raising our prices, changing our systems so that we can, and kind of consolidating our client loads so that we can only train 3 to 4 hours a day, right? Or coach 3 to 4 hours a day. I don't want to exclude just being online, right? So whether we're hybrid, whether we're online, or whether we're all in person, 3 to 4 hours a day max, so that you're at your absolute highest self and you are very, very recharged and you're giving insane value to these people, right? Giving them your absolute best. Marketing, building your business, about 2 hours. So this is going to be, developing new projects. This is going to be developing and launching social media content, those sorts of things that are going to put your message out there into the world. And also, those back-end projects, whether it's, redesigning your welcome package, upgrading your training software, those sorts of things are definitely going to pay off in the future. So upgrading your systems and marketing and content creation, those sorts of things are going to be about 2 hours a day. And admin, 1 to 2 hours. So whether that be, emails, text, shit like that. Whatever back end work, checking payments, making sure all that stuff is current. Basic stuff. So this really adds up to about an 8-hour workday, and we want to get away from overworking ourselves and doing these 10, 12, 14-hour days. If you guys are doing that, we definitely don't want to do that because it will burn you out. Ask me how I know. So we want to, again, be at our highest self and be fully charged so we can move forward to the future instead of just kind of trapped in that rat race, that grindstone, right? So cluster your coaching, batch your coaching. So what we don't want to do is, I've seen some crazy trainer schedules where they're working, 7 days a week for a total of, 30 client hours. We have one client at 5 a.m. We have one client at 9 a.m. We have one client at 5 p.m. We can't be doing this shit. So block it out. They have to be clustered together, and you may not be able to do this tomorrow if you have kind of a scattered schedule, but you need to absolutely cluster that. Make sure you have days off, and keep those clients together in one block. There should not be, unless it's like an intentional break if you're doing a long shift or block like I was, but they should all be clustered together. There should be no rest in between. There should be no big breaks in between. Pay attention to what sparks your energy and what drains it. So pay very close attention. So if programming is something that really drains you, it's not something you enjoy doing, that's okay. You can hire someone who loves it. Like, I love programming. It's my favorite part of my job. I would probably never farm it out unless I completely farmed out my coaching and was just having someone coach for me. And obviously advertising is such. Unless I completely, gave up in-person or online coaching in general, I just love programming. But if that's not something you want to do, you can totally farm that out. For me personally, I'm not gifted with graphic design or anything, so I simply pay, a company to do so. I pay people to do all my graphic design for me. I had clothes made for me, so those sorts of things. So you want to get towards the point where, and Jonathan Goodman from the Personal Training Development Center does this the best. He simply spends all his time and energy on the one thing he's good at, which is being the face of the company. So he responds to all the messages. He's very present on all the Facebook groups. He's always creating content for them. He doesn't really do anything else. He's more of a strategic advisor. So he's gotten to the point where he does so little, but it's actually a ton, and it's very high impact, and it's the stuff that he loves and he's the best at. So you want to get to the point where you're only doing the stuff that really gives you energy. So at this point, I'm spending most of my time, programming and doing the marketing and stuff, but I farm out a lot of the other tasks, right? I automate a lot of the other tasks. So pay attention to what, gives you energy and what you're good at, and pay attention to what you need help with and what doesn't give you energy or even what drains you, those sorts of things. And then go ahead and hire a code for that or automate it. Again, ultimately want to spend most of your time doing what you're best at and enjoy doing. So if you love marketing and sales, you can get to the point where you're just doing sales calls. I was talking to someone this past weekend who has gotten to the point in his coaching business where he pretty much just does sales calls. He's so good at them. So you want to move to the point where you're pretty much just doing what you're ultimately gifted at and enjoy doing, and that will take your impact and income up to an even higher level. So pay attention to that. And again, pour from an overflowing cup. Not doing your clients any favors by training them tired, out of shape, and less educated than you could be. You may make a handful of dollars more in the short term, but it will absolutely hold you back and impact your life in a negative way for sure. And again, you're going to have a way better reputation if you're always showing up at your absolute best. So, also when you're working, set up a dedicated workspace. Get some coffee, nootropics in you. Headphones on, some chill music. Whether it be some house, some lo-fi beats, some classical music, whatever. So get some headphones on. Got your coffee, got your nootropics, airplane mode on the phone. Set a timer for your work. So let's say you're programming. Go ahead, get your headphones on or ambient music, whatever. Put your phone on airplane mode. Go ahead and program, time your work, and then you can go ahead and be a lot more efficient. You can also get a better idea of how much time you're spending on these different things and kind of budget and move things around, or ultimately train someone to do what you're doing and pay them for it. Time blocking, block things out. Make sure you're batching your tasks just like you batch your coaching. So make sure you have a dedicated time block for programming like I do. Been very good with that. I simply on Sunday it's just straight programming, and the rest of the week I have a lot more free time because I'm very very efficient there. Batch your emails, batch your texts, those sorts of things. Content creation. Create your content batches. You can even take a weekend, go somewhere, or even local at your gym, whatever. Create all your content for the week, the month, those sorts of things. That's a very, very efficient and effective way to do things. Is see if you can batch all your tasks. The more extreme you can batch your tasks, the better. Some of you guys, if you're on the less custom program side, you can even batch your programming monthly, which is even more efficient, which would be amazing. So that would be an excellent idea as well. So batch everything you do and get very efficient at it. And if all else fails, listen, if your schedule falls apart, shit happens. As long as we're being, effective with what we're doing. Make your content every day. Have your sales conversations every day. Deliver world-class service every day. Developing this perfect schedule is very important. It's very key for your long-term development in your business and being the most, going back to these words, efficient and effective so much. But even if all this falls apart, if we are making content every day, If we are having sales conversations every day and if we're delivering world-class service every day, we will move our business forward and we will go in the right direction. So, all this stuff is incredible and I want you to implement it today or right now. But again, if all else fails, focus on being as effective as possible. Focus on what really matters. Don't get caught up in the bullshit. Don't get distracted with all these minute tasks that might take your attention. Say no to all that. Make your content every day. Have your sales conversations. Deliver world-class service, and your business will move very aggressively in the right direction. So let's get after it. So your takeaways are: you're going to start batching your coaching, make that more efficient. Have those conversations today. Get ready to do that. Start implementing these time blocks. Start getting more efficient with your work schedule, and yeah, that's it.